Hey everybody, let's get to our new strategy video for the HSI dot line. Want to take a look at the installation and just bring up a couple of brief points of things to think about of how to handle this. First, mainly we're going to be pinpointing confirmation in the PRZ, so we want to use this for now mostly with pattern completion, T1 or T2 designations on the software. And then we can also look at some dot-to-dot action where we look at intraday scalping techniques, basically looking for intraday swings, temporary bias. Certainly there is further optimization planned. Let's take a look first at, let's look at the longer term way to look at that with patterns. And I just want to kind of highlight first maybe some daily structures. Here's Airbnb. And I think this is a great example because of how the pattern developed. It looked like it was absolutely going to fail the structure, sailing right through that pattern, that crab pattern, only to have it stop right at the hop and then turn around. Now, here's the thing that I would consider. Normally, we're waiting for T1, HSI dot arrow, then the dot. And the dot is the ultimate progression and formation of the confirmation technique, because the pattern's the structure. The pattern is just the level. It's just the starting point in most cases. And now with the dot, what that does is we're looking at that area in the zone. Is it 125? Is it 113 at the hop level? With the dot, we can really pinpoint inside here and limit risk. So let's really break it down into this zone here with the Airbnb. Looking at this completion, let's just note, okay, here's the terminal bar, T1 designation, okay, and then the arrow. We're very early in the process. If you didn't have any confirmation technique, you might jump in right at 125, and then you get massive drawdown down to 113 or lower. That's not what we're looking for, and that's one of the things with patterns zone optimization is that we want to be there as the confirmation comes together in the level. So here's how the dot breaks down. We get the signal, we get the confirmation, and the confirmation is related to HSI here. But we see that HSI doesn't reverse out of the zone exactly at that level. It takes several bars. And in that case, it drops down to the hop, harmonic optimal price. Finally, the dot completes. Now, here is the trigger. Here's the logic behind what's going on here is that the dot and HSI itself represents a critical divergence of strength where we already have the individual strength as noted by the dot. Why? The HSI has clearly come out of the zone. And then even though this was an aggressive and kind of almost a failing retest, there's the dot. But the next bar, we retest it on the gap down. That's exhaustion. But we still need development. That development comes after the retest and in 1 and 2 bars. That's how we get a dot. Now the final stage and trigger and why we have the green line now is because we're looking at the open of that second bar. The open of that second bar holds dramatic significance for the divergence that's occurring inside of the price action. And we're looking for the retest of that open level. In this case, the open bar trigger, as we call it, is 114.47. We get the retest, and then we go. Now notice, green line and the price action took several tests down here. That's okay. I mean, clearly, we look at the obvious inflection low. That is your stop. This is common. Now, there's other strategies that I will get to, and I have talked about in other sessions where we monitor HSI, maybe look at amplified, but this is the trigger we want to be targeting inside the zone in every instance. Let's take a look at Let's go back to that NASDAQ 1 minute. NASDAQ 1 minute. If it's 1 minute or 30-second, I started on this chart here. Interesting stuff, okay? Over here, and this is from Friday, we had the T1 completion. There's the dot and then the retest. Now, there's not a bar here because currently the way it's designed is only to show the last line. But there would be a line here. What I want to focus on, and I think this is a better optimization of what we're looking at, is there's T2. T1, confirmation, reaction down. Go for the retest, the type 2, 475. But again, intraday trading, really critical to be as precise as possible. We see T2 is all the way at 57. Market trades as high as, what's that exact number, is 91, 94.25. Okay, so we're not doing 40-point drawdowns. Okay, we're not, and absolutely exemplifies the need for confirmation with the dot and the line. Now, in this case, let's look at the zone. Really break it down. A lot going on here. Okay, right there, we have this dot. Now, we have two dots. You can't see it, but there is another HSI oversold right there, overbought right there. That required a check back, and you actually have a double line here. Pretty interesting. Both of those, do double dots have more significance? Probably. We'll get into that in another session, but clearly we see that the trade is not 475. The trade is at the line, and that line's 485. Okay, and that comes many bars after the fact, but this is where we demand the market to start to turn, exhibit precise behavior, breakdown. That's your inflection. Okay, don't go up beyond these levels here, and then start the breakdown to where? Well, that's a T2, so we know type 2, target 2. And this was pretty aggressive once you rolled over. Now, there's target 2. We're up here at the dot level, 485. Okay, target 2, incredibly, all the way down there at 26. That's all in the last hour of trading. It's a really nice situation. But what about this bullish pattern? Wouldn't we anticipate the market not to go down? Well, what's going on here at T1? Because no doubt the formation of the bullish bat might suggest that this isn't going to make it, but that's where the confirmation comes in. If we are at T2, which is here, and there's our confirmation trade, we're expecting target 2, and we run into a bat that's generated, well, we would not even consider that until we have confirmation. We could tighten stops up on this breakdown, but then look where the last dot is. The last dot trigger from all the way back prior in the day, and not even like 2 hours prior, doesn't come in until 41. How do we handle those situations? We're in a bearish trade and we see some bullish signals. You tighten stops. Go to a 3 bar. Go to even a 1 bar. Because at this point, we should see that serial bar over bar breakdown. And then finally, you come down for the type 2 all the way off that Gartley was realized at the end of the day. A lot going on here. There's a lot of different instances of markets putting in the line, different areas of the zone. But the key takeaway is that once that line has been generated, we're then focusing on price action, tightening stops, whatever the prior inflection is. That's your absolute limit. And then tighten management along the way. I'll have a lot more to add to this. I think this is a real breakthrough for pinpointing in the zone. And I will have some more strategy update videos.